Ms Beach here, and today we're going to be doing our last house tree drawing. Can you guess what we will be doing by my pepperelly hair? That we are going to be drawing a willow tree today. And this one's very close to my heart because I'm a willow.
Students in House Willow embody flexibility. The willow tree is known for not only being able to withstand tough conditions, but also thrive in them. A branch can fall in a muddy swamp and grow into a beautiful tree. Students in this house will also make the best of a tough situation and bend when they need to. The house willow crest shows a curvy tree in the center, which represents the ability to be flexible. The leaves curving around the crest show their ability to care and give hugs to others who may be in a tough situation too. The teal background represents water, not only where the willow tree grows best, but also the flowing aspects of their nature. Atop the crest is the crown of a giraffe, representing that we are all part of the Brumfield community.
And willows are known for being very flexible, so our hand movement is wavy arms, which is hard to do up here, but it's kind of like this. Whoa! We're going to use some of the knowledge that we have from our other trees to add into this one. So we've talked about using the letter Y to make a tree, okay? So we're going to start with a Y on your paper, and you kind of want to plan it out. Now, willow trees are really wiggly. So I'm going to start with a Y and a wiggly trunk. On my paper, I'm going to plan out where it goes. So start with the top of your Y. Again, drawing lightly, so it's hard for you to see until you like it. I would wait, if I were you, and do this part much later, because you might want to make changes. Because I'm drawing and I want you to see my imagery, I'm doing it like that. So right now I have a long branch here, a shorter one here, and a little stump of a Y. Now here's the unusual thing about a willow. We're going to be using an S curve, just like our arm movement, to make the trunk of the tree. So, wiggle and back, kind of like a backwards S. Did you see that? Like we've done before, we're going to outline it to make our branches thicker, because you don't want like a stick person tree. You don't want stick branches. So I'm going to start at the top, and it gets really close to my Y, but as I get closer to the trunk, it gets wider, okay? So here we go, a little wider. Like you're going down a hallway. Okay, so now this one, same thing. Start skinny up here, get a little wider down here. And when I get to the here, kind of that spot right where the Y's touch, if I were to put my pencil here, it would kind of draw a flat line. I'm going to stop, because that's where I'm going to connect it to my trunk. Now my trunk is going to go around that backwards S shape and down to where that stops. Okay, do you see it happening? It's starting to look like a tree. Kinda, not really. Hang with me. Trust me. I'll get you there. Now I'm going to draw the roots. And here's the cool thing about a willow tree. The roots are what can grow in that swampy, nasty situation, and they end up bending and curving how they need to. So, it's a great symbol for willow students who can bend and curve in a swampy, muddy situation. So this time I'm not going to draw my line in the middle. I'm just going to start to draw a wavy line. Now, when I get to that tip, stop, make it skinny, and just repeat the same exact line back to here. Okay, now this one, I'm going to come down kind of straight, then repeat the same line back to here. Okay, then just stop. Notice there's a gap from my original S. You want a little gap, it doesn't have to touch. Now, last one, this one I think I'll bend back. It doesn't matter where your roots bend, and I'll have it touch right there. So as I'm going along, I have 3 major roots, but I could always add more if I want to. Just add one in right there, kind of make that Y theory that we've been using for trees. See it? Okay, this one's just a little skinnier than the original. Every time you add a new branch or root in, it should get a little bit smaller. If you add one off of that one, a little bit smaller. If you add one off of that one, a little bit smaller. One off of that one, a little bit smaller. You see where I'm going with this? I want to add a branch off of here. Gonna make it a little curvy. It's gonna be wide at the bottom and then get pointy at the top. Still has that Y philosophy, but with a bend. And I think I'll put one here too. Gets a little wider at the bottom. This time I did not draw a line in the middle. You could. Now I'm gonna take my eraser and wherever they connected, just erase so they look like they grew out of each other. Now, leaves of a willow tree are long branches that kind of hang down, like these. Okay, so what you're gonna wanna do is a little bit different than what you're used to doing. We're gonna draw them in kind of groups. So I'm gonna put a rainbow a little bit above my tree. Measure it, about the size of your nose. Okay. Another one, measure it. Okay, and then another one. It's like you're just drawing rainbows over the tree. Rainbow, rainbow. You know, I think I want one here, kind of hanging out. It's gonna look kind of connected in the end. I'm gonna go back over there so you can see them. What a happy rainbow day. They're not really gonna be rainbows, but if you've drawn a rainbow, this is an easy thing to be able to recreate and draw. Bump, 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 bump. You can put your bumps wherever you want. I do recommend that you put some kind of arching over your tree. You know what? I want one more right here. So it looks like they're layered up on each other. Okay, now I'm going to turn these rainbows into kind of a jellyfish shape. Jellyfish. That's not a tree, Ms. Beach. I know, but sometimes I call things that you might recognize, so that way you can think about how to draw it and it makes sense to you. So I'll do it on this one stretching out. I just come straight down and up and down and up, almost like icicles for those jellyfish tentacles. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And if it tucks behind a branch, you can overlap. Remember, if you have something on top of something else, you might see it here and here, but you don't see it in the middle. If you do it this way, you might see my hand here and here, but you don't see it right behind the pencil. Overlapping is a great artist tool to make things look more 3D. So right here on this branch, I really want that one to stand out. So when I did my jellyfish tentacle, I tucked it behind. So when I hit it with my tentacle, I stopped and I came back up right on the other side. Okay, I'm going to do one over here. Ew. Okay, just let that branch kind of hang out in there. See how there's one down here? It's behind. There's that overlapping. So here's the top. I think I'm going to have some jellyfish tentacles come down here. So here's the top. I think I'm going to have some jellyfish tentacles come down here. And it's just this one right here. Okay, now I'll do the second one. I'm proud of you. This is a new way of thinking that we haven't thought before. Comparing objects to things that aren't really in trees, but that you can easily identify to draw. So this shape looks like a jellyfish to me. If you think it looks like something else, maybe in your head you could say, I'm going to draw a bear paw. Whatever you want to say, it's up to you. But compare shapes to things you already know, and it will make drawing easier for you. It just needs some details. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to add the bark of the tree, maybe put some knots here or there. And that's why I didn't erase that line, because it's just going to look like the bark. See how I'm putting some spirals? That's the technical term for that. A lot of kids call them snails because they're comparing it to something they recognize, which is a great way to start. But once you learn the word, you can sound more professional by calling it a spiral. And I'm just going to put those in there so they look like the knots of the tree. As for the leaves of the willow tree, I might put in some details of the long branches that come down and add some leaves. So I could draw an upside down heart, ovals on each side. Just like that. And if I add a few of those, kind of hanging down, heart there, oval, 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 oval. It's gonna really start to look like a willow tree. I think it's time to add some Sharpies. Dun, 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 dun. Blue is House Willow's house color, hence why you see me in blue with my blue Paparelli thing and my blue Sharpie. It represents the water that willows often grow around, but it also represents that flexibility that willow students have. I choose to go over it in blue Sharpie so that on the screen you can see it better. Okay, there's my rainbow. You know what would be better if I started where we started? Sometimes Ms Beach makes a mistake too. So I'm gonna draw my Y, just like we did in the beginning, with a stumpy little tail. Then a curve to the right and a curve to the left to make a backwards S. Then I'm gonna trace over it to make my branches. And remember, they can be bendy. I did skip over that because I know that I'm gonna add a branch there. Okay, and then I'm gonna go around the S curve. I'm gonna put a bump in it, because willow trees are pretty naughty and bumpy because they've been through some tough stuff. You know, a willow tree, a branch can fall in the swamp and it can grow from that branch. Really amazing what life has potential to do. And then I think I'll do my roots, which are just bendy curves with a pointy tip. Back, really bendy. You want to show how wiggly a willow tree can be. They will wiggle and get to sunlight no matter what. Rainbow, rainbow, what a wonderful sunny day. Now I'm going to turn them into jellyfish. Hey, these kind of look like tentacles too. It's funny how nature repeats itself sometimes. It's like it comes up with a great idea and then boom, it does it again. Sometimes your lines when you overlap can get hard to follow. Just do your best if you need to. Skip that part and come back and try to figure it out. I'm just going to keep going over all the pencil lines and trust that I had the right idea the first time. Okay, I'm going to go in and do my details now. Little bark. So for my bark, I just do some squiggles. Sometimes I'll throw in a spiral. Sometimes I pick up my marker and have it come right beside it. Sometimes I'll just do a curve. The more bark marks you add, the older the tree begins to look. Every time I have a curve, I repeat that shape, just to kind of give it some emphasis that it curves. Emphasis is a good art word. It's one of our principles of design that artists use all the time. So once you learn a few things, you can take them and build upon them. It might be fun to do your bark lines in a different color even. That's an option. And I think I'll do a couple of emphasis lines here just to show some growth in my tree branches too. So not every curve, but a few curves I'll just copy. Maybe draw some lines here, just a couple copies. Wherever a branch sticks out, I'll add a little curve. So here and here. This one gets tucked underneath. I'll add a curve here and here. So straight line, heart, and then ovals pointing off down towards the side, that point down towards the corners of your paper. You can add these branches wherever you want to. Your choice, your tree. You can make them go down, almost touching the ground. And our Latin word is bonus, which means good or positive. Because no matter what, willows can always find a positive in a bad situation. Think about that. If you're in a tough situation anytime soon, what can you do to make that situation positive? Okay, there's my willow tree. I hope yours came out really great. Can't wait to see. Remember to post them. Mwah! Miss you so much. Bye.